G'day again, my name's Paul Morrison. It's my privilege to be joining with Creating Communities at this time of the COVID-19 pandemic and hosting these sessions called Stronger Together. You can join us on the website. We're having some wonderful conversations with different community leaders and professionals to learn from their backgrounds. And today we're joined by the CEO of Richmond Wellbeing, Adrian Munro. G'day, Adrian.
Hi, Mauro. Great to be here.
Thanks for coming in. Now, just tell us briefly what it is Richmond Wellbeing get up to.
Well, Richmond Wellbeing has been providing service in WA for 45 years, and we provide services to people who experience mental distress, all sorts of needs in the mental health area, and some of it's for people who live in residential services, but lots of people who live in the community who need some extra support with their mental health needs.
And what are you seeing at the moment as people who are lonely and isolated in the community are having to be forced to be more isolated than before? What are the kind of things you guys are dealing with?
Look, it's a really big challenge. So there's a lot of anxiety based on the uncertainty and lots of the changes that are happening. So that's creating a lot of anxiety, uncertainty in people, but also people who we support are probably less likely to be linked in with their community, and this is adding a bit more distance and adding to the sense of loneliness for them.
So are you making, obviously, Richmond Wellbeing adjusting on the run? What are some of the things you're having to do to try and handle this pandemic?
Yeah, look, absolutely. The safety of our staff and clients is absolutely number one. But we know that lots of the people we support, they actually still need face-to-face support. And a lot of the individuals living in our residential services, they still need face-to-face support. So what we do is absolutely essential for the community, but lots of things around hand hygiene, social distancing, but then people who live in the community, we're not doing group sessions anymore, but some people we're providing extra over the phone or like FaceTime support in addition to the in-person thing. So lots of things because our support has to keep going. We're here for the community regardless of the challenges that come up.
One of the things that seems to be creating the most amount of anxiety is the uncertainty around like the timeline for this, like how long is this going to play out? What are some tips you might have for people that are dealing with that level of stress?
Yeah, well, I guess sometimes when people are uncertain, some people will say, oh, look, don't worry about it, just forget about it. It's important to actually acknowledge that that's how people are feeling. And if people are feeling really stressed or uncertain or anxious, it's important to acknowledge that feeling. But then it's important to try and ask yourself, why am I feeling that way? Because as humans, especially when we're isolated, we can catastrophize things really quickly. And in our mind, we can take a problem and make it 100 times bigger than what it actually is. So acknowledging that you're feeling anxious, asking yourself, why am I feeling that? What are the emotions? But then the best thing absolutely is talking to someone about it. So when we talk to a friend, verbalize it, it's easier for our mind to kind of challenge what we're thinking, but then a friend can reassure us and say, look, what you're thinking or feeling has some merit, but don't get too far ahead of yourself. It may not be that bad.
Yeah, definitely. We can all go down that path at times, can't we? Now, fair to say you're a fairly optimistic fella.
Yeah.
And in the midst of this, you'd say there could be some great benefits to come from this. What are you thinking there?
Yeah, well, look, I certainly acknowledge the hardship people are going through, and for those who are losing their jobs or businesses are struggling, absolutely acknowledge it's a difficult time. But this provides us with an opportunity to re-explore our sense of community and connectedness and how our community operates. So for a long time, lots of people in our community would say, well, look, I'm my own man, I'm independent, I don't need help from anybody. What this has shown is that that's not the case for anyone. We are all far more interdependent and reliant on each other than we ever thought. We also talk a lot about, reaching out to your neighbour, send someone a text to check in. But people I talk to will often say, well, if I send someone a text just seeing how they're going, won't that feel weird? And now is the time that no one will think it's weird. Everyone is going through a difficult time. Call a friend, text them, say how you're going. Want to have a chat. Just because we're socially isolated doesn't mean we have to be so lonely and not connecting with people. We can use media and technology more than ever to connect with people. And this is our time to realize we need each other. We are dependent on each other. send someone a text, call them, make a meal for someone, go and do some shopping for the elderly neighbour. Reach out, be a part of your community, because what we know happens is that one of the best things for promoting mental health is having a sense of belonging in your community and serving your community and serving people around you by helping them out, making them a meal, all these sorts of things we're talking about. That makes people feel connected more than anything, and that is one of the strongest things for protecting your mental health in a time like this.
And so you'd suggest the simplest way of serving each other is just to keep reaching out?
Absolutely. If there's anyone in your neighbourhood or your community who has a need that you can respond to, help them out. Send someone a text, give them a call, see how they're going. It'll make such a big difference. We really underestimate the impact that it has for people who are feeling lonely. It might be just a small thing for you, I'm only sending a text, it takes 10 seconds. The impact it has on that person who feels lonely, you may never imagine or ever know the impact it has on that person.
And fair to say, in life we often learn more from the trials than we do the highlights. And it's a shared trial, so in some ways you see this as connecting us all together.
Yeah, and that's so right. This is so unique in that in many instances in life, if I'm going through a challenge, other people may not know about it, but every person in this country, every person in the world is going through this. We are in this together. We say it a lot, but this is truly the case. We are all in this together. We all need each other.
If you were to sum all that up, covered a fair bit there in one tip, what would your stronger together tip be today?
Well, look, it is so true for us, but I would say we need each other more than we've ever known. But now is the time that we can develop a new sense of interconnectedness and sense of community belonging that we've never had before in this country.
Wow. Adrian, thanks for coming in and chatting to us.
Thanks for having me.
It's been great. Adrian Munro there from Richmond Wellbeing. Thanks for joining us again, and you can check out more of these conversations on Stronger Together, the website. We'd love to chat with you then. Make sure until then you stay safe, look after each other and stay connected, as Adrian has said, and follow the government's advice around COVID-19 to take care of yourself and others. We are stronger together.